Hey, how you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Mem Beis. 42. 42 sounds like a nice number. Alright. Daf 42, Masechta Yevamos, friends. Daf 42, we talk about Yevamos. What do you want me to tell you? We're talking about that Mishnah that says that, like, you gotta wait 3 months to, like, marry, to do, like, Yibum and Chalitza and stuff. So, we continue moving on in that Mishnah. So let us begin without. I still have a cough, Lamaisa. I imagine this thing's gonna go away eventually. I mean, it usually does. Let's go weiter. So we're on Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph 2, 4, 6 lines into the page. V'chein shar kol hanoshim, and similarly all of the other women, right? So if you have, for example, Reuven is married to Sarah, and they get divorced. And now Sarah is going to get married to Shimon. Wait 3 months. So, so I understand why by Yibum we wait 3 months, because we said yesterday, right? Because if you do Yibum within 3 months, what if Shimon, what if Reuven, what if Sarah conceived from Reuven, in which case you didn't really need to do Yibum in the first place, and therefore Shimon then doing Yibum with Sarah is basically Eishes Och. So I understand why there are issues when it comes to Yibum. But why, if for example, Reuven and Sarah get divorced, why does Shimon need to wait 3 months? Why can't they get married immediately? Says Rav Nachman, man, I should try the breath thing again. That's better. Because the pasuk says, okay, the pasuk says that the Eibishter will be, he says to Avraham Avinu, that the Eibishter will be to you as a God, and to your seed after you, to your children after you, to your descendants after you. You have to know whose descendants it is, whose seed it is. Is it Reuven's seed? Is it Shimon's seed? Well, that's why it's important to wait 3 months so that you know who the father is. Moshe Rav asked the Kasha, the Brisa that says that Ger v'Gyoris tzrichen amte gimel chadashim, that if you have a husband and wife, right? Reuven the Gentile and Sarah the Gentiles, all right, Gentiles, Gentila, a gentle and a gentila, Reuven the gentle, Sarah the gentila, and so then they convert to Judaism. So after they convert, they have to wait 3 months before they try to have a baby. So now over there we know who the father is. It's now it'll be right. It's Reuven, either Reuven the Gentile or Reuven the Yid, but it's Reuven. So right, and we know. Okay, fine. So what do you need to wait 3 months for? You know that Reuven is the father. No, we do want to know. We want to know, this baby that's born, was he conceived when Reuven and Sarah were Yidden, or when Reuven and Sarah were Gentiles? Right. That's the thing that we want to distinguish. Rave Omar says that the reason why you need to wait 3 months is it's simply a gezerah shem yisa achos mi'aviv v'yab meishes achiv mi'imo v'yotzi yasimu l'shuk v'yiftar sivim to l'shuk. Technical reasons, right? We're concerned that if we don't know if this baby, if this yingel is the son of Reuven or the son of Shimon, there could be technical issues, right? For example, I'm going to read that again. What happens if Shimon and Sarah are assuming that this yingel is their yingel, and now he grows up a few years, he's now a few years older, and it's time for him to get married. And they say, well, Reuven's got a daughter, and so they say, why don't we make a shidduch between our little yingel and Reuven's daughter. Now the problem is, this Yingel is actually Reuven's son. So Reuven's son, who Shimon and Sarah were assuming were their son, but it's really Reuven's son, is going to marry his sister, right? So Shema says, Achos me'aviv, v'yabim eishes achiv. Or, what happens, eishes achiv me'imo, right? Or what happens if, so what happens if now, so Shimon and Sarah assume that this little Yingala is their Yingala, and then they have another son. And now that son gets married and dies. So this little Yingel says, well, my brother got married, died, didn't have any kids, I should be doing Yibum. The problem is, of course, as we know, Yibum is brothers based on fathers, not based on mothers. Now, this Yingel and this other brother have two different fathers, right? The Yingel, his father was really Reuven. The other one, his father is Shimon. So they have different fathers, so they shouldn't be doing Yibum. And he's going to end up doing Yibum with this other brother's widow, but really that's going to be his brother from his mother's wife, and that's an issue of Eishesach, because that is not permitted in the context of Yibum. So, okay, V'yotzi asimo l'shuk. Alternatively, if Shimon and Sarah don't have any other children other than this Yingel, and they assume that this Yingel is their Yingel, and then if Shimon dies, so Sarah is going to assume, well, we had a baby together, this little Yingel, and therefore she's going to say, well, I don't need to do Yibum, and she's going to just marry somebody else, even though she does need to do Yibum, because the Yingel is really Reuven's Yingel, and Shimon and Sarah didn't have a Yingel. And similarly, if Reuven has another son, right? So Reuven and Sarah had a son together, and also this little Yingel, but they think that the little Yingel is from Shimon, but the truth is it's from Reuven. So now what happens if this Yingel's brother, right, who's Reuven's son, gets married and dies? So then, really, this Yingel is going to have to do Yibum with this son's widow, but he's not going to, because he thinks that he's Shimon's Yingel. So therefore, friends, that was fun, talking about this Yingel and all the different places he can go, right? All the places you go, all the different contexts that this little Yingel can cause problems if we don't know who the father is. So we say that that's why it's important to know who the father is, and therefore you wait 3 months. Masr of Hananya asked the kasha, mishum takonas erva, v'chan mishum takonas volod. We have a kasha that it says in a brayso that in all of the examples, we say that we're concerned about arayos, but over here, in these cases of waiting 3 months, right? Meaning, so by all the other cases where we said that you don't do yibum, so the issue was about erva. But over here, by waiting 3 months, the issue is a different issue. It's about mishum takonas volod, to make sure that the child is beseder, v'misa kulu mishum takonas erva. But if what we're saying is correct, if what Rav is saying is correct, that we're concerned that, for example, maybe this little Yingel is going to marry his sister from Reuven or something like that, that's also erva. So, and for the Gemara, mishum takonas volod. No, this is also out of concern for the child, l'lifka behu erva, so that the child doesn't go into a situation of erva. So yes, it's erva related, but erva related to the child, not erva related to Reuven and Shimon themselves. So now, frek the Gemara wants to know why exactly you have to wait 3 months. Can't you maybe finagle a little bit less? So frek the Gemara, b'shlomo tamtim beis chodash v'tinos lo. Okay, so I understand why Shimon can't just wait 2 months after Reuven dies and then get married to Sarah, because dahainu sveika. That's exactly what the question is, right? Because ibar tisha lekama, ibar shiva levasa. Because what happens, right, if you wait 2 months and then get married, and then 7 months later, a Yingel is born. So now you don't know, is this Yingel Reuven's Yingel, and it's just 9 months from when Reuven and Sarah conceived, or is it Shimon's Yingel, and it's been 7 months since Shimon and Sarah conceived. So therefore, well, I guess Sarah conceived, but Shimon was also part of that. So Okay, so I understand why 2 is out of the question. Why waiting 2 months is out of the question. Friends, you hear the kasha? What if they wait 1 month? Reuven dies. Shimon and Sarah wait a month, and they get married. And if she gives birth 7 months later, which means that it would be 7 months from Shimon and 8 months from Reuven. Hai bar shiva levasahu. So then we know for sure that this baby was born 7 months after Shimon and Sarah got married, meaning it's Shimon's baby. That because the assumption is that a baby born after 8 months will not live. And therefore, if the baby is born 7 months after Shimon and Sarah get married, and the baby's a healthy baby, so Memela, it's a 7-month baby, it's not an 8-month baby. And therefore, it's definitely Shimon's yingul, it's not Reuven's yingul, because that would be 8 months from Reuven. And if the baby is born 8 months after Shimon and Sarah get married, well then, Memela, it's not Shimon's, it's Reuven's. So Haibar Tisha Lekamahu, it's definitely a 9-month pregnancy from Reuven. So that is what the Gemara asks, right? Why can't you just wait 1 month and then you can know, and then you'll know whose baby it is? So Inami Litmanu Yolada, well, even if the baby is born after 8 months, still you don't know. It could still be Shimon's yingul, because you could say it's Shimon's yingul. Dilma ishtahuye ishtoha chodesh echod ve'i aber. It's possible that it took a month for Sarah to get pregnant. So therefore, if the baby's born after 8 months, you don't know. It could be 8 months from Reuven, but it could also be that Sarah got pregnant a month after marrying Shimon, and therefore it's a 7-month baby to Shimon. So therefore, waiting a month is not a solution, because if the baby's born after 8 months, you won't know if it's, you don't know if it's, 7 months from, you don't know if if you wait 1 month and then get married, and then the baby's born after 8 months, so you don't know if it's 9 months from Reuven or 8 months from Shimon, or maybe it's 7 months from Shimon and it took a month to get married, so we pashit don't know. Okay, but a different option. Do you really have to wait 3 full months? Maybe 2.5 months could be enough. And if 7 months later the baby is born, so then memele, right, it would be too late for Reuven, because that would be 9.5 months. That's too long. So it would be 7 months. So if 7 months later the baby is born, so Haibar Shiva Levasu. So memele, it's Shimon's yingul. And if the baby is born 6.5 months later, right? So 2.5 months after Reuven dies, Shimon and Sarah get married, and then 6.5 months later there's a yingul born, which is 9 months. So Memela Haibar Tisha Lekamahu. So Memela, this is Reuven's yingul. It's 9 months since he died. The by Basaru, because if it was Shimon's yingul, by Shisu Falgo Lo Chaye, a 6.5 month developed baby will not live. So if it's born after 6.5 months, Memele, it's 9 months from Reuven. But and for the Gemara, that's not going to work, because Ika inami l'shisa ufalgo yolada Ika lememar debasahu. Look, you still can argue that maybe even if the baby is born after 6.5 months from the time that Shimon and Sarah get married, it could still be Shimon's. Damar Marzutra, because Marzutra says afilu man damar yoledis l'tisha eni yoledis l'mkutayin, that even according to the opinion who says that a woman who gives birth after 9 months, so it won't be sort of during the 9 month, it'll be 9 full months. But if a woman gives birth after 7 months, it could be even in the middle of the 7th month, and therefore 6.5 months is the middle of the 7th month. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, "Vayit kufas hayomim miut kufas beis miut yomim beis." This is by Shmuel. It says that the tkufos hayomim, right? One tkufa, a season, is 3 months, so 2 tkufas is 6 months, and yomim is plural of days, which is 2 days, so 6 months and 2 days. So we see that Shmuel was born during the 7th month, and therefore, if you wait 2.5 months and then 6.5 months later the baby is born, it could theoretically still be Shimon's Yingul. So we don't know if it's Shimon's Yingul or Reuven's Yingul. So therefore, friends, you gotta wait 3 months. But now, fact the Gemara, how about this suggestion? Reuven dies, and then maybe, so Shimon just wait like a week or two, and then marry Sarah, and then Vitinase get married, and then 3 months after Reuven died, so that's like 2.5 months after Shimon married Sarah. So 3 months after Reuven dies, do check Sarah, check her breast, see if she is producing milk, and figure out. So if it's already 3 months and there are signs that she's pregnant, so Memele, it's going to be Reuven's Yingul, because 3 months, the 3-month mark would be when you could tell that she is pregnant. From Shimon, it's less than 3 months. So if after, so 3 months after Reuven dies, but only 2.5 months after Shimon and Sarah get married, if she already has signs of pregnancy, so then Memele, it's Reuven's Yingul. And if 2 weeks later, at the 3-month mark from when Shimon and Sarah got married, she has signs of pregnancy, so then Memele, it's Shimon's Yingul. So Amar Rav Safra in Bodkinis and Nesuas Shlo Yizganu Al Bailein. So Rav Safra says, look, we're not going to do this because it can create a weird dynamic between, it's a very intimate sort of check, and therefore it could create weird vibes between, interesting. It could create weird vibes between, that's interesting. It could create weird vibes between Sarah and Shimon, so therefore we say just don't do this Bedika thing, and therefore don't do the whole just wait 2 weeks and get married thing. Okay, you can do sort of a less intimate check. How about this? Take some like soft ground, some like soft dirt, and have her just walk a shtickle. Just, do a little walk in the dirt. And if she's pregnant, so then she'll be heavier, and the footsteps will be a little deeper, and we could tell. So, well, it's not a foolproof test, because if Sarah wants to sort of fake it and somehow lighten up her steps so that we can't quite tell that she's pregnant based on the depth of her footprints, she would be able to fool us in that way, so that we'll assume that it's Shimon's Yingul, and then sort of he will be able to be sustained by Shimon. Okay, fine. So, alright, so it sounds like we're not really gonna, just wait 3 months, is basically the gist of it. Now, now, if the whole concern over here is that we want to make sure that we know who the father is, so wait 3 months, and then Memele, after you've waited 3 months, and then you get married, and then a baby is born at least 7 months later, so you know that it's Shimon's baby. So if the whole thing is that you just need to know if it's Reuven's Yingul, if it's Shimon's Yingul, so what if you know already that it's Reuven's Yingul? So that's that. So Tinase, then let Shimon and Sarah get married already. Okay, fine. Sarah's pregnant with Reuven's Yingul. Let's move on. Let Shimon now marry Sarah, and they know, okay, Shimon and Sarah are getting married, and Sarah is now pregnant with Reuven's Yingul. So, Allah Matanya, how can we learn an advice? We learned the other day that if you have Reuven is married to Sarah, and let's say Reuven dies, and then Shimon marries Sarah, and Sarah is pregnant. So if she's pregnant or nursing, so then Shimon cannot marry her. Vimnosa, and if Shimon does marry her, Yotzi, then they have to get divorced. V'lo yachzer olamas, they can never get remarried. So, but why not? We know it's Reuven's Yingul. Let's move on. Let them get married. So, Gzer Shemataisa Uber Sandal. Well, we're concerned that if Sarah is pregnant, well then when Shimon and Sarah get married, maybe there's a concern that maybe she can conceive another baby at the same time, and the second baby will kind of crush the first baby. So, if that's the case, Didenami. Well, if that's the case, I mean, you have a husband and wife, the wife conceives, she's now pregnant, so then they should not be allowed to be together because maybe the child will be a sandal. So right, because maybe there will be a sandal, the fetus will be a sandal. And for the Gemara, well, there are solutions for that. You have a husband and wife, the wife conceives, and now she's pregnant. We want to make sure that the child does not become the fetus does not become a sandal. So there's, there are solutions, right? Either this woman can stick a cloth inside of her when they're sleeping together to prevent her from becoming pregnant, or maybe the Eibishter will, right, Shomer Psoyim Hashem, the Eibishter will just have mercy and make sure that she doesn't conceive again. So, and for the Gemara, Nami, but so why don't we say the same thing over here? Reuven died, Sarah is pregnant with Reuven's yingle. Let Shimon and Sarah get married, and whatever precautions that a husband and wife take, so let Shimon and Sarah take. So Elam Mishum Dechasa. Well, we're concerned that maybe when Shimon and Sarah are sleeping together, so then maybe Shimon will crush the fetus. So we should be also concerned with the husband and wife that the fetus can get crushed. So Dide Chayes Ilove. Well, if it's a husband and wife, he's the husband and it's his own baby, so he's gonna have mercy on the yingle and he won't crush it. Which the Gemara says, yeah, but come on. I mean, Shimon isn't a barbarian. He's also not going to want to crush the fetus of his wife. So, rather, when a woman is pregnant, she's then going to need to nurse. And we're concerned that if Shimon and Sarah get married now, and she's pregnant, well then maybe she'll become pregnant again, right? Meaning maybe she'll give birth and then she'll become pregnant now that they're married. Maybe she'll conceive again right afterwards, and then she won't produce milk properly, and the first, right, Reuven's yingle will die. But if that's the case, then we should be concerned about a husband and wife in general, right? They'll have a baby, and then maybe she'll become pregnant again, and then she won't be able to produce milk properly, and the first child can die. So well, when it's his baby, they'll feed the baby with eggs and milk and things like that. Yeah, but then again, when, right, Shimon and Sarah, if they want to get married, so let them get married, right? And even though we know that she's pregnant, she'll give birth, and even if she becomes pregnant again, she'll still feed Reuven's yingle with eggs and milk. So lo yav la baal. Well, maybe your husband, maybe Shimon isn't going to be paying for Reuven's yingle's food. Okay, but why doesn't she go to Reuven's estate and say, hey, pay for Reuven's yingle? Well, Sarah might not feel comfortable going to court demanding that Reuven's estate pay for the yingle, and in the end the child might just die because he'll starve to death because there's no food, and therefore Shimon and Sarah should not get married when Sarah is pregnant. If they do, they have to get divorced. Okay. So now moving on in what the Mishnah had said, Achaz besulis v'achad beulis. So the Mishnah had said that everybody has to wait 3 months, whether Sarah was a besula, whether she was a virgin, whether she was not. Heinu besulis ve'heinu arusis, but aren't besulis the same thing as arusis, right? If the woman if Sarah was only engaged, so memele she was a besula. Heinu beulis ve'heinu nisuis, and if she was married, then memele she was a beula. So aren't besulas and arusas the same thing as beulas and nisuas? Amar Yehuda Achika Amar says, Rav Yehuda, this is what the Mishnah means to say, Achas besulas v'achas beulis. Whether we're talking about besulis, whether we're talking about beulis, shenis armelu or shenis garshu, whether they became widowed, whether they became divorced, bein min ha'erisin, bein min ha'nisun, whether from engagement or from marriage, meaning where they aren't two separate categories, right? Besulis and arusas are not two separate categories. The arusas are the besulis, and the nisuis are the beulis. All right. Rabbi Lazar did not visit the Beis Hamedrash one day. Okay, Ashkechil Rabasi, found Rabasi, my Omer Rabbanon Bei Midrasha. So Rabbi Elazar wasn't at the Beis HaMedrash one day, so he finds Ravasi. He says, Ravasi, can you fill me in on what they were talking about in the Beis HaMedrash? Omer Le'achi Omer Rabbi Yochanan. So Ravasi says that this is what Rabbi Yochanan had said, Halacha Rabbi Yossi, that Halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. What did Rabbi Yossi say? Rabbi Yossi had said that Arusis, if they're only engaged, so then Memela, they're not, right? If Sarah and Reuven were engaged, so Memela, she's not going to be pregnant with Reuven's yingle. So therefore, Rabbi Yossi says she can get married right away. I mean, we know that she's not going to be pregnant with Reuven's yingle. And even if she was married to Reuven, so she can even get engaged. She can't get married. She wouldn't be able to get remarried for 3 months because we wouldn't know whose yingle it is. But she can get engaged immediately. Well, from the fact they were passing like Rabbi Yossi, that must mean that the Tanakama is not the Rabbanon. The Tanakama must be a single person, because if it was the Rabbanon, we would not passing like an individual. We passing like the plural. So therefore, it must be that the Tanakama was a singular opinion, and we passing like Rabbi Yossi instead of that singular opinion. So the Gemara says that exactly, the Tanakama is a single opinion. V'atane, as we learn in the Brisa, if before Reuven died, Sarah would often spend long periods of time, right, or spent that entire time before Reuven died. Sarah was by her father's house, and Memele, she wasn't getting pregnant from Reuven. Or she would frequently get angry at Reuven and refuse to, and they wouldn't have intercourse together. Or maybe he was in jail and they wouldn't allow them to spend the night together. Or if Reuven was old, or he was sick. Or maybe she was sick. Or maybe she miscarried after Reuven died. So, she definitely is not conceiving again from Reuven. Or she was barren, or Zikena, or she was old, or Kitana, or she was too young, or Ilonis, or she was simply physically incapable of having children, or She'ena Ru'uya Leiled, or she wasn't fit to give birth. Meir says, nonetheless, you have to wait 3 months. So that's the Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda Matir Le'aris V'Le'Nosamiyad, whereas Rabbi Yehuda, although I guess there's different gifts for Rabbi Yossi, or also Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi kind of agree to a large extent, Matir Le'aris V'Le'Nosamiyad, permit her, right, if we know for sure that she wasn't going to have a children with Reuven, so then she'd be able to get engaged or married immediately. So we see that, yes, the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, and that the Tanakama is a singular opinion. It is the opinion of Reb Meir. Amr B'chia Bar Abba says, B'chia Bar Abba Chazu Rabbi Yochanan. The Rabbi Yochanan actually changed his mind. Right? We had said a second ago that Rabbi Yochanan said that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. Says Rabbi Bar Abba that Rabbi Yochanan Taka changed his mind. Amr Rabbi Yosef Yihadabe Mimasnisa Dechaim Hadabe. Says Rabbi Yochanan that if says Rav Yosef that if Rabbi Yochanan really changed his mind, it was based on the following brayse. The Tanya, as we learn in the brayse, Amr Bishmo B'nosh Rabbi Yochanan B'Breka Shemaiti Mipichachom B'Ker B'Yavne. Says Rabbi Yochanan B'nosh Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Shmo B'nosh Rabbi Yochanan B'Breka that he heard from the rabbis in Kerem B'Yavne. I had a brief stint in Kerem B'Yavne. Kulin Tzrichas Lamtin Shlosh Chodoshim. They all have to wait 3 months. That everybody has to wait 3 months no matter what. So there you have a brisa, and if Rabbi Yochanan changed his mind, it was based on that. Omerle Rabbi Yirmiyah to Rabbi Zrika, says Rabbi Yirmiyah to Rabbi Zrika, Ki ailas lekam de babo, that when you go before a babo, Romile, ask him the following question: Mi Omer Rabbi Yochanan halacha Rabbi Yossi? Did Rabbi Yochanan really say that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi? Ve'Omer Rabbi Yochanan halacha kistam mishneh, that the halacha is like a stam mishnah, if you have an unattributed mishnah, the halacha is like that. V'tnan, we have an unattributed mishnah, that all women should not get engaged or married until 3 months have passed. Achaz besulis, v'achaz beulis, whether besulis, whether beulis, and therefore we have a stam mishnah saying that everybody needs to wait 3 months. So would Rabbi Yochanan really say that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, that besulis don't need to wait 3 months? So Omerle, Duramalach ha lochosh lekimche. So Rabbi Zrika says to Rabbi Yirmiyah, whoever asked this kasha wasn't paying any attention, because stam achakach machlokes he, because sure there's a stam mishnah but afterwards there was a dispute about if that's really the case. Bein halacha kistam, right? Meaning we have our machlokas between Rabbi Yossi and the Tanakama. So kilu, yeah, sure, there was a stam mishnah, but the stam mishnah was followed by this machlokas. Bein halacha kistam, and in that case, when there's a stam followed by a machlokas, followed by an argument, halacha is not like the stam. Domer papa v'tem Rabbi Yochanan machlokas v'chakach stam, halacha kistam. That if you have, I don't know what I just said a minute ago, but if you have a stam mishnah if you have a machlokas followed by a stam mishnah, so then the halacha is like the stam mishnah. Stam v'chakach machlokas ain't halacha kistam. But if you have a stam mishnah followed by a machlokas, well then it's machlokas. We don't necessarily assume that it's a stam mishnah, and then we pass on like a stam mishnah. Friends, that was daf mem beis and Masechta Yevamos. So daf mem beis, the first part of the daf, we were trying to understand why the idea of waiting 3 months is not just for yibum, but also, for example, divorce or other cases of people, right, Sarah getting married after being married to Reuven. So first we had said it's simply that we need to know if it's Reuven Zingel or Shimon Zingel. Rava had said that while there are actual real implications about arayis and eishes och and things like that, we're then trying to figure out if really you have to wait 3 months. Maybe you can get away with 1 month, or maybe 2.5 months, or maybe even just like 2 weeks. But ultimately we said no, you have to wait 3 months. And then we discussed a little bit if we pass like Rabbi Yossi, who says that you only have to wait 3 months for a nesua, but not a arusa. But so initially we want to say Rabbi Yochanan says that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, but then we said no, the halacha is it sounds like the halacha is taka like Reb Meir, that in any event you have to wait 3 months. Friends, that was daf mem beis and Masechta Yevamos. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.